History is written by the victors, but sometimes what we accept as standard, unshakable textbook fact is nothing more than a carefully manufactured illusion. From phantom battles that never occurred to world-altering operations scrubbed from our education system, the past is heavily sanitized to control the present. Today, we are uncovering 10 massive historical cover-ups that you were taught as absolute facts. Prepare to question everything you know. Number 10. The Gulf of Tonkin Incident. In 1964, the world was told North Vietnamese torpedo boats launched two unprovoked attacks on the USS Maddox, dragging America into the Vietnam War. But declassified NSA documents later proved the second attack never even happened. Sailors were shooting at phantom radar returns caused by bad weather, a mistake hidden to justify a massive military escalation. Though top officials realized the error almost immediately, the truth was buried for decades. A fabricated skirmish became the official catalyst for a conflict that cost millions of lives. Number 9. Operation Paperclip. For generations, students were taught that the Allied space race was fueled purely by homegrown democratic genius and scientific triumph. In reality, the U.S. military secretly evacuated over 1,600 Nazi scientists, engineers, and technicians directly from the ruins of World War II, scrubbed their records, and placed them at the head of American research. Men who weaponized forced labor camps were suddenly running U.S. space programs. The public was intentionally kept in the dark to protect America's technological edge during the Cold War. Number 8. The Spanish flu origin. Textbooks call the devastating 1918 pandemic the Spanish flu, implying the global outbreak originated on the Iberian Peninsula. Spain wasn't the source. They were just the only country not censoring their press. Warring nations like the US, UK, and Germany hid their own massive outbreaks to keep wartime morale from collapsing. Evidence strongly suggests the first wave actually erupted in a military camp in Kansas. To protect geopolitical interests, an entire nation was scapegoated for a century. Number 7. The true fate of the Library of Alexandria. The classic story blames a single, dramatic fire set by Julius Caesar or religious zealots for destroying the ancient world's knowledge overnight. The truth is much bleaker. It was a slow, agonizing death crawl. Centuries of systemic budget cuts, civil unrest, and simple government neglect left the scrolls to rot away uncopied. Blaming a single villain let generations of leadership off the hook. History didn't burn in a day. It was defunded and ignored until it simply vanished into obscurity. Number 6. The Piltdown Man. For over 40 years, science textbooks celebrated this 1912 discovery in England as the definitive missing link in human evolution. In 1953, a battery of tests exposed a humiliating truth. It was an elaborate hoax. An orangutan jawbone had been stained and filed down to fit a modern human skull. Eager to claim the origins of humanity belonged to Europe, the scientific establishment fiercely protected the find and ignored skeptics for decades, cementing a lie into global curriculums. Number 5. The Reichstag Fire. In 1933, the German parliament building burned, a crisis blamed entirely on a lone communist radical, sparking immediate emergency powers. But evidence and modern historical consensus suggest the Nazi Party orchestrated or heavily facilitated the arson themselves. It was a classic false flag operation engineered to eradicate civil liberties. By controlling the narrative of the catastrophe, a regime completely dismantled democracy within weeks, proving how easily a state-sponsored lie can alter history. Number 4. The cover-up of Katyn. For half a century, Western textbooks and Soviet authorities blamed Nazi Germany for the brutal 1940 massacre of over 20,000 Polish officers. It wasn't until 1990 that official documents proved the execution was ordered directly by Joseph Stalin and the Soviet NKVD. Allied leaders knew the truth during the war, but actively helped cover it up. They needed to keep Stalin as an ally against Germany, so they let an atrocious war crime be misattributed for decades, prioritizing geopolitical convenience over historical truth. Number 3. The destruction of Tulsa's Greenwood District. For decades, Oklahoma history books kept absolute silence on the 1921 events that leveled America's Black Wall Street. It wasn't a spontaneous race riot, as early news sanitized it. It was a coordinated, state-sanctioned assault where city officials deputized attackers and even utilized private aircraft to drop incendiary devices. An entire generation grew up in the area without ever hearing about the massacre in school. The state actively buried the records and omitted the tragedy to erase the financial and human devastation. Number 2. The myth of Christopher Columbus's discovery. Millions were taught that a heroic explorer set out to prove the earth was round, discovered a vacant new world, and brought enlightened civilization. Every piece of that narrative is false. Ancient Europeans already knew the globe was round, the continents were home to tens of millions of people, and Columbus's diaries detail immediate, brutal enslavement for gold. The heroic myth was intentionally manufactured in the late 19th century to create a unifying national origin story. Real history was completely replaced by a political fairy tale. Number 1. The Secret War in Laos. From 1964 to 1973, while the public focused entirely on Vietnam, the U.S. military launched over 2 million tons of ordnance onto neighboring Laos, making it the most heavily bombed country per capita in history. To bypass international treaties, the operation was kept entirely classified. The CIA ran the campaign in absolute secrecy, leaving Congress, the media, and American citizens completely oblivious as millions of cluster bombs fell. The horrific scale of this hidden war wasn't officially acknowledged for decades. It remains the ultimate testament to how easily an entire decade of warfare can be hidden from global history textbooks. The past, we are taught, is often just a truce agreed upon by those in power. When we look past the sanitized pages of our textbooks, we find a history defined by what they chose to hide. Which of these historical cover-ups surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden side of history.